Okay, so what we are going to cover today is we will be, this is kind of a, fast crash course for NumPy, pandas, matplotlib, and then some of the introduction to C bonds. And we will wrap up Python today. Yeah. The first thing that we are going to cover is NumPy or NumPy, whatever you want to pronounce this. So NumPy is basically a Python library used for numerical computing, and it basically is, it's kind of a array implementation within Python, advanced array implementation. So first thing that we will be going to see in this will be how to create arrays here. Then, how to find the shape of the array. And then there are, various array creation functions. So array creation functions, we will see what are those. And then indexing and slicing. And then how to do arith arithmetic and statistical operations. Then we will see how to do matrix operation. Matrix, you might have, already studied that in your school and college days. And we will also see how we will reshape the array, reshaping the array. Cool. So creating array. So first thing, okay, before that, even, before that, how do we install basically, right? How do we install NumPy? This is the first thing that we are going to see. So if you'll go and open your IDE, and so I have already installed it, but if you are doing it for the first time, what you have to do, so you have to use pip command, then pip install, and then you have to give numpy. Once you enter it, so I have already installed it, so it is telling me that requirement already satisfied, and it is already installed. But if it is not installed in your system, then it will get installed. And once it is installed, so you can create a new Python file, and you can use import statement, import numpy, and we will be using the alias as np. Okay. Now we are good to go. So how do we install numpy? So we basically use pip command to install numpy, and then we import numpy as np. I mean, that's the alias form. You can skip that also, but using np, so np is a short, it is just containing 2 characters, so it will be easy to use the numpy related function with this small word. That's why we use alias, that we have already covered in our previous lectures, right? So first thing is, how do we create arrays using numpy library? So let's say I define a variable a, and then I'll use np dot, and there is a uh, method array. So this array basically accept list or tuple. So if you see, if you look closely, one second. Okay, if you look closely, so this thing that I have defined inside the argument, this is, what is this? This is tuple, right? Sorry, this is list, and it can be tuple also. I'll show you. So this is how I'm creating one dimensional array. And if I'll do print a, and if I'll run this program, okay, I have to change the setting here. Instead of main, I have to select current file. And when I'm running this program, you can see it has created one dimensional array, right? So this is how we create one-dimensional array. Now instead of this list, I can provide tuple also. And if I'll run this, it will still run fine. And the output you can see is in the list format. Yeah, this is in the list format. So that's why we should basically, stick to the standard, standard rule of creating the array using list. But yeah, you can create it using tuple also. So this is, creating the one-dimensional array. Now, if you want to create a two-dimensional array, uh, so for two-dimensional array, you will give two lists inside the argument. So now, if you look closely, this list is this array inside array method. There are two arguments, right? This is first argument, and then we have comma, and then this is second argument, right? So for two-dimensional array, you are basically using two arguments to create the two-dimensional array. And two-dimensional array is nothing but a matrix, right? So a matrix is something which we use to denote like this. And it has rows and column, right? It has two rows, right? This is first row, this is second row, and it has three columns, right? This is first column, this is second column, and this is third column. So this is a matrix. And 2D matrix, we basically represent by two-dimensional array. So this is how you create a two-dimensional array using numpy library. And if you run this program, okay. Okay, if you'll run this program, okay. So one thing I want to show you is that, so this is the first argument, and this is the second argument. I mean, not argument per se. So argument is still one argument inside this array method. You can see this is one argument, right? Which is list. And then inside this list, the outer list, you will have two elements basically, and each element represents a separate list. So just remember, uh, a quick tip to remember is that inside this array method, how many square brackets you are seeing? One square bracket, two square brackets. So there are two square bracket, right? Starting, and in the end also there will be two square bracket which are at the end basically. So there are two start square bracket and end square bracket. Hence, this is two-dimensional array that you are about to create. So this is just a trick to remember. So now if you run this program, you can see it has printed the matrix, that is two-dimensional matrix, in the output, right? And when we have created one-dimensional array, so we have created like this, correct? So it was one-dimensional array. And again, what is the tip? So it has starting, it has only one square bracket in the starting and in the end. So we have one square bracket here. So this is 1D array. We have two square bracket here. So this is 2D array. Okay. This is a quick tip to remember. Now, second thing is shape of the array. So shape of the array basically tells how many rows and how many columns are there. For example, if I'll print, if I want to know, so A is a two-dimensional array and I want to know the shape of the array. That means I want to know how many rows and columns are there. So I will use A dot shape. If I'll run this, it will tell 2 comma 3. 2 comma 3 means two rows and three columns, right? So first row, second row, and each of these are basically the columns. And I cannot have like this. It will create error. See, if you are defining the column as 3, so in every element that you are providing inside this array method, it should be having 3 elements only. Otherwise, it will create error. Now about the 1D array, if I'll print b dot shape, so b dot shape, if I will run this program, it will tell it has, you know, it contains three elements basically. So in 2D, it will basically give rows and column, and in 1D arrays, it will basically give how many elements are there in that particular 1D array. Okay. Now coming to the next topic, which is array creation functions. So first function is zeros function. Second is ones. Third is I. Fourth is full. We'll see one by one. A range, and then lin space. So let's see these creating array creation function. Yeah. Okay. Let's say I am creating, I'm defining an array, and I'm using np dot zero function. So inside zero function, if I'll give 2 comma 3, and so it is plural, it should be zeros. And if I'll do print a, so it will create a two-dimensional array of 2 rows and 3 columns where all the elements are zeros. You can see in output, it has created a 2D matrix with all elements as 0 with 2 rows and 3 columns. Now we have another function, ones function. It will basically create 2D array where all the elements are 1 in that particular matrix. Then we have I function. So I basically represent, or it basically is used to create the identity matrix. Let me first run this program. Okay. Here it will accept just one argument, 3. Let's say if I'll give 3. So it has created the identity matrix. So what is identity matrix? So identity matrix is a matrix where all the diagonal elements, diagonal elements have the value as 1, and rest other elements are 0. So 3 basically represents creating a 3 by 3 identity matrix. We cannot give 2 by 3 because identity matrix, when you create identity matrix, rows and columns are equal in that. That is why instead of accepting 2 argument, it is just accepting 1 argument. So 3 means it will create an identity matrix of 3 by 3. So this is about I function. Now we have what is the next function? 0 and full. Okay, I function I have missed here. Okay, that's fine. We'll see full function now. What is full? So if I'll use np dot full, sorry. So if I'll use np dot full, so here the first element, parameter will be a tuple where I will define the shape of the array, and then second element is the fill value. Okay, what does it mean? Let me first run the program and then show you. So it is basically telling that create a 2 by 2 matrix, 2 by 2 matrix, and then all the elements in that 2 by 2 matrix fill with the value 7. Okay. So this is about full function. If I'll give 3 comma 2, and if I'll run this, it will create a 3 comma 2, 3 into 2 matrix, 2D matrix, and it will fill all the values with number 7 that I have mentioned here. Yeah. So this is about full function. Now we have a range function. A range. Okay, so what does it do? It basically uh, accept three parameters or three arguments. First argument is the start. Uh, I mean start and then end and then the step size. So what does it mean? It will basically create a 1D array which is starting from 0. You can see here this is the start, right? This is basically starting from 0. Ending will be 9 and step size is 2. So from 0, first element will be 0, second will be 2 because the step size is 2, then 4, then 6 and then 8. If I give 1 here, will it accept, will it contain 9 also in the final array? Let's see that. So in the final array, 9 is not included. So this end part that we give, end number, that is basically excluded. And if we don't give any size here, what happens in that case? So in that case, by default, it will take step size as 1. So this is about a range function. Next is linspace. This is a tricky one, linspace. It has also start and end index. So let's say if I'll give 0, comma 1 and I'm giving some number as 5. So what it will do, it will create the array where first element will be 0, last element will be 1 and basically from number 0 to 1 it will divide number 0 to 1 into 5 equal parts. So all the elements you can see first, second, third, fourth and fifth. It has basically taken the start and stop and this time it is including stop, it is not excluding and it has basically divided the start between start and stop, it will divide the number into 5 equal parts. If I'll give it 10, so it will be 0, 0.11. It is basically dividing it into 10 parts. Okay. And if I don't give anything here, if I'll remove this number, the third parameter, third argument, so by default it takes 50. So you can see it will divide, it will consider from 0 to 1 and 0 and 1 are also included as first and last element respectively. And then it is basically dividing them, I mean the number from 0 to 1 into 50 equal parts because default value of third argument is 50 if we don't provide anything. Okay, so these are about array creation functions in numpy. Next thing we are going to see is indexing and slicing. Okay, so let's say if I'll create array b equal to let's say np dot array, I will create a 2D array. Let's take just two rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So normally if I'll do print on B, it will just give the 2D matrix, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now slicing, okay, there is a slice formula. Let me write it down somewhere. Mm, okay. Slice formula will be, so let's say I want to slice matrix B or array B. So it will be the row start, then we have colon, then we have row end, then colon and step size. Fine. And then we have comma. Then we will be having column instead of full column. Let me write CUL column, start, then we have colon, end, and then we have sorry, column end, and then we have step size. This is the universal thing that can happen. So here you can see we have, first of all, we'll see how many parameters are there. 1 and 2 parameters are there because this is separated by comma here, right? At this point. Now, if you look towards the first argument, so we have this slice function, right? This colon. So it can have three things, right? Row start, row end, and step size. So if it is mentioned, well and good, we'll go according to that. But if it is not mentioned, then what will be the default values? So default values of row start will be 0 if it is not mentioned. Row end will be the total rows which are there, let's say n, and step size will be 1. Similarly, second parameter, if we'll see second argument, if column start, column end, and step size not mentioned, then default value of column start will be 0. Column end will be again, let's say m, which are total number of columns present, and step size will be 1. So this is the universal slicing thing that can happen within NumPy. And now let's see how does it work. Yeah. If I'll go back to okay. Now let's say if I am doing print b 1 comma 2. Okay. So it simply represents, okay, we have how many arguments? Two arguments, right? Left argument represent row attributes and second argument represents column attributes. So it is basically representing row. So index in this array starts from 0 and 1. So it will, go to the row number having index 1, which is this one. And in this particular row, it will go on to the column, which is at index 2. So this is 0th index, this is first index, this is second index. So ideally it should print 6 when I'll run this program. See, it is printing 6, right? So this is a very, what do you say, simple use case of how to extract the elements from a 2D array. Now let's see some slicing here. If I'll give B and then here I'm giving like this, okay? So left hand side, so again we have two parameters, right? Two arguments, first and second. And this one represent row attributes. This represent column related things or column attributes. So it basically, if I will try to form, so left hand side pe there is one colon, right? Draw blank spaces around left hand right hand side, and then we can at max we can have two colon, right? So missing colon is there, so just add that missing colon also, and then draw one blank space towards right hand side, right? So this is the first argument, right? Before colon, before comma. Now if this is not mentioned, first one, what will be the default value? 0. If this is not mentioned, what is the default value? Total number of rows which are present, which is 2 here, and step size not mentioned, then it will be 1. And here here it is 2. Now if we are doing slicing, so you can put the missing slicing function here, and between slicing function you will put blank spaces. And here first one, it is mentioned row number, the starting column start is 2. Then this is not mentioned, so default value will be total number of columns. How many total number of columns? 1, 2, 3. So you can put 3 here. Step size is 1. So this will be the final decoded thing that will come out, right? 0 to 1 and 2 2, uh, 2, 3, 1, right? Okay, instead of, okay, I'll 0, okay, this is second column, okay, that's fine. 0, 1, 2, we have second column. So what it will do, it will basically uh, print in each row, it will print the value at uh, column index 2, right? What it is doing, so it will consider from row number 0 to row number 2, and 2 is excluded, right? So it will consider this row also and this row also. Step size is 1, so it will consider both rows, right? Now in both rows, uh, the step size, sorry, not step size, the column start is the second index. So what is the second index? So this is 0, 1, 2. End index, sorry, end column end is 3. So 3 is excluded. So 3 is not there. So it will basically, it will not consider 3, and the step size is 1. So it will basically print the column value at index number 2. Let's run it. See, index number 2 pay, it is basically 3, and in this one it is 6. It will be a little bit confusing. I'm sure it will be first time you'll get a lot of confusion while doing this slicing. But you can remember this particular formula, right? This particular thing. And if you will just, if you are stuck somewhere, just try to, decode it using this particular formula with respect to the default values, and you will be able to find out. Another way, another simple way is that this colon, if there is a single colon represented either towards left hand side or right hand side, or as first argument or second argument, single column represent either all the rows if it is first argument, or either all the columns if it is given over here. So if I'll give this colon, so it will represent all the rows, and it will represent all the columns in all the rows. So it will just print the original array. If I'll run this, it will print the original array. So just try to remember that if single colon is there, it is it represent everything, either column or row, based on at which particular argument it has been placed. Now, one more thing. Okay, let's say we'll take one more example. Let's say if it is colon 2 here, then so this colon is representing all the rows, right? So it will consider all the rows, and 2 means, okay, so this column wala part is mentioned like this, right? So here left hand side blank space I will put, and if value is not mentioned, I'll consider that as 0, and step size is 1. So step size is not mentioned means, okay, you can ignore it for now, but yeah, I mean, for the records you can keep it as 1. It means that for all the rows, take the columns from index 0 to 2, and 2 is excluded. So what is 0? 0, 1, 2. Similarly, in the first row also, this is 0, 1, and 2. So this first parameter, first argument, represent all the rows. So we have considered all the rows, this row as this row, and as well as this row. And in each row, consider from 0 to 2 index, and this is excluded. So I will consider only these two elements in each row. So when I'll run this program, the output will be 1, 2, 4, 5. Let's see that. 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. So these are some of the things that you can encounter while you are using this slicing function in the numpy. Let's take some more example. Let's say if I want to reverse the rows. Okay. If I want to reverse the rows, I will use colon -1, and we have seen this in string slicing also, right? where we want to reverse the string. So we basically use this, this particular format, colon, colon, minus one. It used to reverse the string when we were studying, string. So if here I just want to reverse the rows. So rows part is first argument. So colon, colon, minus one I have written, then I'll use comma. And I want to consider all the columns. So I will just use simple colon here. So what it will do, it will each row which it will print. For now, the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Now I have reversed all the rows. So it will print 3, 2, 1 and 6, 5, 4 when I'll run it. Okay. It has basically what it has done. Okay. It has reversed the, okay, sorry. Yeah. I mean, it has basically reversed the rows as in, uh, one second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. ठीक है. रो क्या है? This is row 1, and this is row 2, right? Now reversing the row means not reversing the elements inside this, but the first row will become second row and the second row will become first row, is what it is doing. So that is what we are seeing in the output. The second row, original second, I mean the second row in the original matrix became the first row here, and first row in the original matrix became the second row here. So this is what the reversal of row means. Now if you want to reverse the columns, so we will do like this. Colon, that means consider all the rows, and reverse the columns inside these rows. So when I'll run this program, what it has done, it has basically, so initially we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This was our original array, right? Now what it has done, it has reversed the columns. मतलब ये वाला 1, 2, 3 becomes 3, 2, 1. Each column is reversed, and 4, 5, 6 becomes 6, 5, 4. Rows के element are still intact, right? 1, 2, 3 is there in row number 1. 1, 2, 3 is there in row number 1. So we are not reversing the row here. We are reversing the columns. So it becomes little confusing when first time you will be running. Just remember that while reversing the rows, you will basically reverse like this, right? Reversing the rows, keeping the elements intact. While reversing the column, you will just, change the, you will reverse the order in which the elements are mentioned in each row. So this is how you reverse the columns and rows using the slicing method in numpy. Okay. So, uh, what is the next topic we have? Okay, there is fancy slicing and Boolean slicing, Boolean masking. Okay, I'll come to that in the last. Next thing is arithmetical and statistical operation on arrays. Let's say that I have defined two arrays, A equal to np dot arrays array, and I am defining just 1D array, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And one more array, I am defining array, okay, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So let's say I'm doing print A plus B. So when I'll run this program, it will print the final array where the first element we are adding. So first element is 5. For second element, we are adding the second element of these respective matrices, and for third, we are adding third. So it will basically add all the elements in both of these arrays and then provide the final output. So this is arithmetic operation plus. Let's say if I want to do one more arithmetic operation, let's say I want to multiply, right? So I'll use this. If I'll run, it will multiply each of these elements. Okay. and a minus b, it will just subtract. Okay, so this is about what you say, arithmetic and statistical operations on numpy. So we have covered this, 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 we have covered this. Next thing is matrix operation. So matrix operation again, um matrix dot product we used to do, right? We used to do matrix operation, matrix multiplication, right? Let's say we want to do matrix, and it is not the arithmetic multiplication, it is matrix multiplication that we used to do, right? So how to do matrix multiplication using numpy library? So what we'll do np dot, we have np dot and something like this. So what it will do, if I'll run the program, it will do matrix multiplication. Okay, before, instead of this, let me take 2D array, then it will make more sense. So 1 comma 2, then let's say 3 comma 4, here 3 comma 4, let's say 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8. So is okay.
More braces need to be added.
2D array, so two square brackets in the starting and two end brackets in the start ending. So it is doing matrix multiplication. So how do we do matrix multiplication? I'll just revise it for you. So this is the first array or first matrix, 1 2 3 4, right? So we do matrix multiplication it with second matrix, 5 6 7 8. So how do we do that? We'll first take the first row, multiply it with this first column, right? 1 into 5 and then 2 into 7, and then we basically add it. So 1 into 5 is, okay, 1 into 5 is used to be 5, and 7 into 2 was 14, right? So first element, first row and first column resulting matrix में ये, this will be the output. Now for this particular element, so we used to multiply it in this, right? Here we will do 1 into 6, which is 6, plus 2 into 8, 16, right? This is second element. Third के लिए we will take next row 3 4 and then multiply it with this. So 3 into 5 15, and 4 into 7 was 28, and for this particular element we will multiply it with this. So 3 into 6 18 plus 32, which is 4 into 8, right? So this is how we do matrix multiplication, and this will result in this particular output that you are seeing, right? So this is how we do matrix multiplication. Okay, next thing is reshaping the array. Okay, so let's say we have a array a equal to np dot a range से बनाता हूँ. Let me create a array with the a range function. So a range function is basically you are giving the range as 10. It will consider 0 to 9 and then it will create array, right? So if I'll do print a, इसमें array will be like this, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? Now I want to create, I want to reshape this array, right? So a dot reshape, and I want to reshape the above into 2 comma 3 matrix. So it will basically, what it will do, cannot reshape array of size 10 into shape 2 comma 3. Okay, so 5 comma 2, let's say. Can we do 5 comma 2? Okay. Yeah, so multiplication should be total number of elements, I mean row into column, whatever row, total row into column that you will define. So 5 comma 2 you are defining, so it will have 10 elements, and your original array should also be containing 10 elements. So if that compatibility is there, then only you can reshape this array. So what it is doing, initially I have an array 0 to 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is 10 elements. I am reshaping it into 5 rows and 2 columns. So it will create the array into 5 rows and 2 columns. So this is how we basically reshape the array. Now, okay, so let me save this in another array a1 equal to, so a1 becomes two-dimensional array here, right? So if I'm doing a1 here, with it will, same, it will give the same result, right? Now this is 2D array, right? I have a 2D array now. If I want to make this 2D array, if I take this 2D array and then I'll again use dot reshape and -1 if I'll give, what it will basically do, it will convert that 2D array back into the 1D array. So any 1D array that when you are converting it into 2D array, so this is how you will do by reshaping 1D to 2D, and number of element which is there in this array and this array should be compatible and equal. And from 2D array, if there is any 2D array, if you want to convert back into 1D array, you will basically use reshape -1. So it will convert 2D array into 1D array.
It's just displaying, or it's actually changing the shape of that array.
No, it will change the shape. So this a1 dot reshape will basically, okay. If I'll do print a1 dot shape, it will still be 5 comma 2 if I'm not wrong. Why it is 5 comma 2? Because a1 dot reshape is giving you another array. So instead of directly writing inside print statement, I should have written like this: a2 equal to a1 dot reshape. And if I'll print a2 here, then it will basically convert it into the this original 1D array. But a1 जो original array था a1 or this array a, that remains intact. It will basically work on that array and create a new array. So even if, let's say, if I'll do a dot shape, a1 dot shape, so it will be as per the original one, right? See. So that reshape function or reshape method basically convert and sorry, it will basically reshape the array and it creates a new array. The original remain, as it is.
Okay. And at line number 7, if we write a1 is equal to a1 dot reshape, will it run, or it will show some error to us?
Let's see that it should. What we are doing here, a1 8. Okay, this is 2D array again. Yeah, it is working.
Okay. So basically it's reshaping and then
because these
yeah.
I mean, if the reshape basically converts or gives a new object, you can say object of the array. So that object, if you want to point it to the original variable, it will point to that particular variable. Otherwise, it will create a new one, and if you are using new variable, the new variable will point to that object, newly created one.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, 1, 2. Let me see if anything else is there.
So do we really use all these matrix related operations in
Matrix related operation in data science, if you are moving into more deeply into data science, then it is required. Otherwise, this much, whatever I've,
Mhm.
explained is more than enough, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, if you know the basic on how to create the array, how to know the shape of the array,
Mhm.
various array creation function indexing, that is more than enough. I
Okay,
think
perfect.
I think more, I mean, I think I have covered more things in NumPy. Let's wrap it here. Otherwise, it will be too much to grasp, right? So now next thing that we are going to see is pandas. Okay. So we'll 10 minutes we will study, I mean, we'll see pandas and then we'll take a break. So is NumPy clear? I mean, you got the basic idea, right? How does NumPy work?
Yes, just one question. We need to use NumPy only if we are doing some operations with arrays, right?
Yes, yes, yes. If you are
And
doing some operation with arrays,
mhm.
correct.
Okay,
And pandas is basically a Python library handling tabular data. So tabular data, when I'll say, so Excel file, right? So Excel file may you have column name and then respective values, right? So that kind of data, if you want to handle, then you basically use Panda libraries, pandas. So it is
yeah,
basically used for cleaning, filtering, reshaping, and analyzing data set because pandas is I would say pandas is more important or more um,
use.
useful
Yeah,
library with respect to machine learning and deep learning and Gen AI. Gen AI, it may not be required that much, but yeah, for machine learning and deep learning, pandas is very useful. Okay, what is pandas? So pandas may
and
what we
one
will.
thing, like
Hmm.
one thing I wanted to add, like normally, like you said, Excels in the same way, when in our databases also data are always
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
that way.
right.
So I have done some automation with help of pandas
Hmm.
with for database validations and also.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the only, that's
Yes,
also one
yes,
of
yes.
the usable.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean Excel, yes, yes. So database say whenever you fetch the data, it will be into key value pair, right? So
yeah,
whenever
that's
key value pair comes into the picture, it is like you can think that, I mean, I used to correlate it with Excel, right? Key is the
hmm,
column name, value is the different values in the rows. So key value pair, whenever it comes, I mean, with respect to Python, Panda will come into picture. And
yeah,
database say whatever data you'll extract will basically be extracted as a CSV file, which is nothing but an Excel file, kind of
yeah,
an Excel format. So whenever Excel format, CSV format is there, Panda implicitly, comes into the picture.
yeah.
So pandas may first of all we'll see how to install and import pandas. Then how to create a data frame. So data frame is a word which is one of the most important word in pandas word. Then uh, CSV file operation or reading writing from CSV file. CSV file is nothing. I mean, it's kind of an Excel file. Also, you can convert Excel into CSV and CSV into Excel, right? Then how do we take quick view of data, right? The data that you want to read. Then accessing the data. How do we access the data? And we can do filtration also, filter rows. But yeah, I mean, I think that should be enough. This should be enough. I don't want to confuse you more, right? Because I think NumPy may have covered a lot of topics, and still there are a lot of more topics that are there in NumPy. Which may not be required at this point of time, but yeah, you can go ahead and do your own research whenever you are comfortable in the basic concepts of NumPy. But for pandas, I would say this should suffice as the basic concepts. So let's get started with pandas. So let me remove this file. Again, for pandas, you will use, in order to install pandas, you will use pip install pandas. I have already installed it. You can see requirement already satisfied. So I have already installed it. That's why it is giving this particular message. But if you are installing it for the first time, you will be seeing some installation process going in background. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to install pandas into your system. Okay. So pip install pandas is the command that we use to install pandas, and then we will again use alias import, which is import pandas as sorry pd. So this is how we import pandas into our Python module. Now, first thing is creating data frame. Okay, before creating data frame, I will, let's say, I'll create one sample file also so that it will give you more uh, clear understanding how we are proceeding. Okay. Now let's say I have a column name as name, age and city. ठीक है. And let's say name में मैंने I have given the value as Alice, Bob, Charlie. Age में anything I can give 25, 30, 35. ठीक है. सिटी में दिल्ली, मुंबई, बेंगलोर. इंडिया में है मतलब एनआरआईज है, नाम इनके अंग्रेजों वाले हैं. दैट्स फाइन. ठीक है. सो दिस इज समथिंग. एक्सेल में आई यूज टू स्टोर डेटा लाइक दिस, राइट? करेक्ट. नाउ इफ यू लुक क्लोजली, ये जो चीज है, दिस इज द की. अगेन दिस इज द की एंड दिस इज द की, and these are the values, right? Values alice, name, sorry, key name is name, और उसकी values क्या है? Values are Alice, Bob and Charlie. More than one values, so we can consider that as a list, right? Having Alice, Bob, Charlie. Correct? Is this the correct representation of this? Similarly, second key है मेरी age, and it has the value as, it has more than one value, so value is not a single value. matlab I'm just not just writing 25 because it is it contains more than one value. So if more than one values are there, I'll consider that in storing those values in a list. So 25, 30, 35, and then city हो गया हमारा दिल्ली, मुंबई and Bangalore. Correct. So it is like creating a dictionary in a Python with having these key value pairs, right? And when we are creating dictionary, so anything related to dictionaries, what we are doing will be handled by pandas library. Okay, data frame. We call it as a data frame. So data frame is nothing but the okay, first of all, this representation is clear to you how we are representing this, right? Now,
Yeah.
data frame is basically any subset of this particular data. So if I'll take this particular subset of data, that is one data frame. If I'll take this particular subset of data, that is another data frame. If I'll take this particular subset of data, that is another data frame. Okay. So basically, data frame basically represent any data, any frame of data in that particular, in the whole data. Initially, we define the data frame as the complete data that we have defined. Okay. Now let's see the Python representation. So let me create a data, whatever we have seen. So data is nothing but a dictionary. So dictionary की first key is name, and name में value will be Alice, क्या था दूसरा? बॉब एंड चार्ली, राइट? चार्ली, ठीक है। दिस इज फर्स्ट की वैल्यू पेयर। सेकंड क्या है? सेकंड इज एज, विच इज अनदर वैल्यू विल बी अनदर लिस्ट, 25, 30, 35। थर्ड की इज सिटी। सिटी में हमने क्या दिया था? दिल्ली, मुंबई, दिल्ली, दिल्ली, मुंबई, बेंगलोर। मुंबई, बेंगलोर, ठीक है। सो दिस इज द डिक्शनरी, राइट? डिक्शनरी बना दी मैंने। दिस डिक्शनरी इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग दिस डेटा, राइट? That dictionary that I've created is representing this data, correct? Now what I will do, so in order to play with the data, Excel data or this dictionary data, I will create a data frame. So df is a variable, so this can be any variable, a, b, c, d, e, f, anything, but I am keeping it as df so that it gives me a visual representation of this particular variable, that this is a data frame. And in order to create a data frame, I will use pd, which is the imported alias name of pandas library, pd dot data frame. And then inside the data frame, I am providing this dictionary data. So this is the data frame. And if I'll print df, it will see, it has printed that Excel का जो data हमने लिया था ना. And by default, this particular thing, this is known as index. So by default, it keeps the index as 0, 1, 2. इसका मतलब ये है कि इसमें एक्सेल में, if I'll go back to the Excel file, यहाँ पे ये इसको एक सीरियल नंबर काइंड ऑफ थिंग वो दे देगा अपने आप. बाय डिफॉल्ट 0, 1 एंड 2, समथिंग लाइक दिस इट विल गिव. अब इंस्टेड ऑफ 0, 1 and 2, instead of this default value, I, I want to give specific value or specific index to this data. So I'll use index. Let's say I want to give XYZ. ठीक है. If I'll run this now, see वहां पे instead of 0, 1, 2, it has changed it to XYZ. So this is how we create a normal data frame. This is a simple data frame using Panda library. Fine. Let's take a 10-minute break now. Take your bathroom breaks, have tea, coffee, and we'll come after. We'll reconnect after 10 minutes. We'll finish off pandas, then we'll quickly, start and finish off matplotlib, and then we'll see, some of the things of seaborn libraries. Okay. See you in 10 minutes. Hey, welcome back. Let's continue the pandas. Okay, so we have seen how do we create a data frame, right? Now, let's do one thing. Let's, whatever data frame that we have created, let's save it to a CSV file, huh? So for saving it to CSV file, we'll do df dot to CSV and data dot CSV I am doing. Now I'll see here, once I'll run this program, it will, save the data into data.csv under this particular location only. So when I run this, see it has created data.csv and it has stored the data, right, into the CSV file. So this is about storing the data into CSV. Now, let's say we want to read the data from this CSV. So let me comment this out. And I want to read this data from data.csv. So what I will do, I mean, the data that I'll, get in the Python code will be in terms of data frame. So I will create df data frame in equal to pd dot read CSV. And here I'll give data.csv and print df. Let's see if it works. Okay, it worked, right? It has basically, it has read the data from the CSV file. Let's say this is the CSV file. I have, stored my data, all the data in this, and I have read the data from the CSV file. So reading and writing of data using this CSV file I mean, how do we do this? We do using dot to CSV method and that read CSV method. It will be helpful when we'll be doing, machine learning hands-on. Okay, next thing, what is the next thing that we want to see? This thing we have seen, create a data frame, we have seen reading, writing from CSV, we have seen. Now, quick view of the data. Okay, so what do you mean by quick view of the data? So we have uh, some functions. For example, df.head is there. So this basically it prints the first 5 rows, but we don't have 5 rows here. So it is basically it will print, I mean, less than or equal to 5 rows. If we have a data with, let's say, 1,000 of rows, so it will just print the first 5 rows. So df.head basically, prints the first 5 row. Okay, instead of that, uh, okay, that's fine. Now we have something known as tail. So tail basically gives last 5 rows. Again, we don't have much data here. If we will be having more data, more rows, then you'll be able to differentiate. But yeah, for now, you can, just understand that head and tail basically give the first 5 rows and last 5 rows of data respectively. Then we have something known as info. So info will be basically used to provide the data type of column types and null values or not null, whether it is not null, and information about the data type. Then we have something known as describe. So describe, if I'll run, it will basically describe. So this is the statistical description which it is giving that, and it is only just for the numerical columns which it will give. So numerical column is age column. So total number of column rows will be 3, mean value is 30, standard deviation is 5, min is 25%. So this is the statistical, some of the statistical attributes is something which this particular method, describe method, gives. So these are some of the important methods, because these are used when you will be using, when you will be basically uh, doing the hands-on on machine learning, when you will be handling large set of data, then this will be required. Now let's see, how do we access the data. Okay, so let's say data frame is kind of a dictionary only, we can say, right? And if I want to get the key values for the key name, I will get all the values under the name key which I have defined in my data frame. Similarly, if let's say, so this is basically giving the one column, it is providing the value of one column. If you want to provide, if you want to see the multiple values, so it will give you, okay, what it is. Okay, multiple, okay, it has to be 2D array, right? Because output will be two-dimensional, right? Okay, so it has given multiple column values. So this is how you basically get column. So column ko what do we call? We call that, we call column as series. So this is one series, this is second series. So each column represents a series. So how do we get a series? So this is how we get a series. Now, this is about getting multiple column and, I mean, based on the column, we are filtering the data. Now, let's say, not filtering, basically accessing the data. Now, let's see how do we access the data based on column. Sorry, based on rows. So for rows, we will use something known as df dot I loc and 0 if I'm giving. So it will give the data at row number 0. तो रो नंबर 0 पे मेरा व्हाट इज द डेटा, मेरा डेटा था दिस वन LS25 Delhi, right? So instead of just giving the value, it will give the values in key value pair. So that is why output में name Alice, age 25, city Delhi is in this way it is giving the data, which is the data of row at index 0. So I represent here as index. Okay. Now, if you want to get the index data at index number 2, it will give data at index 2. If I will give some index which is not present, it will give the error, index error, right? Just remember that. Now we have something known as LOC. So I means, so just remember I यहाँ पे it represents index. So किसका index? Whose index? Rows index. So if you want to get the row data using the row index, then you will use ILOC. I means index here. Now we have something known as LOC, just LOC. So LOC basically access the data based on the index value, right? यहाँ पे, so this is XYZ is index that I have defined, right? XYZ, right? Let's say if I want to get the row data at index that I have defined as Y, and if I'll run this, so at index Y, what is the data? Bob 30 Mumbai, right? So that is why the output of this particular program is Bob 30 Mumbai. So just remember ILOC, LOC. LOC means I means index. So row ka index you can fetch the data, row data. LOC means normal. So index value that you have defined. So यहाँ पे we have defined index x, y, z. That is why I was able to extract the value using this index. Let me remove this here. And so when I remove this from here, so by default, यहाँ पे index will become 0, 1 and 2. Now LOC में I have to basically give any value. Let's say 0 if I have given. तो 0 का दे दिया. तो when you have default indexes of 0, 1, 2, then ILOC or LOC will result in the same output, right? See, ILOC and LOC. So just remember LOC means whenever you have defined explicit index, then basically using that particular label, I would say not index. So this is known as label. So LOC is for label and ILOC is from index. Okay, so this is how we basically access the data. And do we have next thing? Okay, filter the rows. Let's say if you want to filter the data, let's say I want to filter the data where DF age, let's say I want to filter data where age is greater than 30. So greater than 30 में 35 वाला data है, right? This one. This is the data where age is greater than 30. If I'll run this in the output, it will basically print the return type is, see, because this is a condition, right? Condition, this is a conditional statement. So conditional statement will basically still, age wala data it will print, but in terms of Boolean values, false or true. So first में age is greater than 20, greater than 30, no. So that is why यहाँ पे first is false. Similarly, this is also false and this one is true. So the output is false, false and true. Okay. Let's say city वाला करता हूँ. If I'll do for city, if city is, let's say, Bangalore, and if I'll run it, it will again give the data false, false, true, because ये वाला city Bangalore है, नहीं है, false. This is Bangalore, no, false. This is Bangalore, yes, so true. So false, false, true. Cool. So this is about pandas. Now let's quickly jump onto the matplotlib. Matplotlib. So matplotlib, what is matplotlib? So matplotlib is a library, Python library. One second, sorry. Okay, so matplotlib is a Python library which is used for data visualization. So visualization, when I'm talking about visualization, so visual things, right? Visual things are 2D plots, graphs, right? So it is basically used to create graphs or visual representation or visual 2D plots, right? So here also we will see how to install and import. Okay. Second thing, so okay, what plot types we will be seeing? So first one is line. How do we draw a line? Then how do we draw a bar? Then we have something known as histogram. So these all things you might have also studied in your mathematics, right? Statistical, there was one chapter, one unit, statistics, right? So in that unit, these concepts were there, right? Drawing line, bar, histogram, and then something known as pie graph, pie chart. Then we have scatter plots, and then we have subplots. So let's quickly see what is matplotlib and how do we draw these plots in matplotlib. Okay. So again, installation wala part is same. You will be using pip install matplotlib. I have already installed it, so it will show requirement already satisfied. But if you are doing it for the first time, you will get the installation process. It will get started in the background, and you will get matplotlib installed in your system. Now, second is importing. How do we import it, right? So I'll import matplotlib. Matplotlib maybe pyplot is something that I have to import in order to draw these plots. So matplot import matplotlib.pyplot as plt, right? Okay, what are we seeing the first thing? ये वाला part is done, installation and import. First is, let's see how do we draw line. Okay. Okay, line के लिए, okay, this is, let's say, I'll give you the quick overview. ये x axis है, this is y axis. So you have some point, right? One, two, three, like this, and this can be any points. And then y-axis maybe there are some points, right? 10, 20, 30, and then each point has coordinate 1 comma 10, 2 comma 20, 3 comma 30, and then finally you draw line based on these coordinates, right? So this is what we are going to do in this when we are drawing the line. So first thing is, let's define the x coordinate. So x, let me define as 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. ठीक है. Y let me define as 10 comma 20 comma, let's say 22 comma some random value I'm giving 76. ठीक है. Now what we want to do? We want to use PLT and we want to plot, right? Plot x comma y. And I will do plot show, PLT dot show. If I will run this, see, it has plotted the graph, this line graph using x and y coordinate that we have given. And in the output, you can see this line is there, right? So this line, I mean, in the output, in the graph, we are representing this graph using line. So this is, that is why this plot type is known as line. And the function that we are using here is plot function. Okay. Now there are a lot of things that you can do in this, graph that you are creating. Let's see one by one. Okay. Now you are plotting x comma y, right? A graph between x, y. Let's say you want to give the title to this graph, right? Plot dot title. If I'm giving title may matplotlib training, let's say this is the title I'm giving. Then plt dot x label. X axis को what name you want to give? Let's say I want to give the name as x axis. Similarly, y label I am giving y axis, y axis, and then I'm giving plt. I'm doing plt dot. So if I'll run this program, see it has given the name x axis which I have defined, y axis, and title as matplotlib training it has given, and it has plotted the line chart or line graph, right? Now more things we can do. So this is about defining this X label, Y label, and then title. Now, what when we are doing this plot thing, na, plot may be X and Y I am plotting. Now I can define. So here, okay, if you have seen in this, the the color of this line is blue, right? I can change this color also. So यहाँ पे what I will do, I will use color. Blue था ना, so instead of blue, let's say I want to give red. And line style, okay, line is marker. Oh, okay, these three attributes I have given. And if I'm running, see here, ye red color, this line is in red color. And then I have defined marker, right? So marker is the point which defines the coordinate x comma y, right? As per the value. So I have given x1 and y first value is 1. So this will basically denote 1 comma 10, right? So all these points that I have given in my program will be represented by this marker 0, 0, 0, 0. And similarly, line type, whatever line type is there, na, line style, this is this particular line style. Now I can have more line style. Let's say I'm randomly giving. If you want to know what all line styles are available, I'll just give the random value. Error will come, and in the error, you will come to know key what all line styles you can provide here. See, these are the line styles that it has shown here. So solid, none. Let's say I want to give this line style, huh? Or let's say colon. I'll give colon here first. तो यहाँ पे W, तो ये I have intentionally failed my program to know what all line styles are available. Line style colon I have given, and if I'll run this, see the line will change into this particular style, dotted lines, right? And marker में O की जगह if I'll give W again, let's see whether it will work or not. It will uh, it will not work. So इसमें I think X we can give. Let's see that. Yes. So 0 and X are marker values that you can give. So this is about plotting the journal line in matplotlib. So we have seen how to plot a line here, right? We have seen this, we have seen this. Now next thing is bar chart. Okay, so bar chart, let me remove this. Bar chart is basically category and then values. Let's say I'm giving categories as A, comma, B, comma, C, and values I am giving 5, 7, something random. ठीक है, this I have given. Now I will use plt dot bar categories comma values, and then plt dot title. You can give any title, let's say categories, and then plt dot show. Okay, now if you'll run this, it will create bar graph, bar chart, right? So this is bar chart where it is representing the category A, and it will create a bar chart around this category A, which will be represented on x-axis, and then y-axis पे whatever is the value. So this is the bar chart. How you basically draw bar chart like this. Okay. Now next thing is histogram. So histogram is something very tricky thing, right? Not tricky thing. I would not say tricky thing, but yeah, it is basically uh, uh, is something which might create confusion. So let me explain you histogram. What is histogram basically? So histogram क्या होता है? It basically displays continuous numerical data, right? Continuous numerical data by dividing it into bins, which is divided into bins. Bins क्या होता है? Intervals, right? And show how many data points fall into each bin. Okay. For example, let me take an example. Let me take one example. Let's say I'll create a value, I'll create an array in Python when I'll demonstrate. But let's say I have some values 45, 50, 51, 53, 60, 61, 62, 60, 61, 62, 78, 80, 82, 95। ठीक है, कितनी वैल्यू, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 वैल्यूज हैं, राइट? नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन व्हेन आई विल create histogram. Let's say I am defining range. So there is one thing which you will, so there is one attribute which will you will define in Python known as bins. Let's say मैंने bins 5, basically I have defined 5. 5 means all the data will be divided into uh, 5 intervals, right? And 5 intervals, so how it will divide the data? Let's say यहाँ पे there is range, I will put range, or bins that it will create. Total how many bins it will create? 5 bins, right? And यहाँ पे I will represent count, okay? So पहला डेटा रेंज जो बनाएगा, it will 45 से 55 बनाया, let's say, then 55 से 65 बनाया, 65 से 75, it is creating bin 75 से 85, and 85 से 95 it has created. And in each range it will basically tell the count of data which is there in this particular category. So I want to explicitly explain histogram because I'm sure you might have studied this in your elementary mathematics, but I'm sure most of you have forgot what histogram is. So if you'll see in this 45 से 55 की range में, how many data is there? 1 2 3 4, right? तो यहाँ पे इसका count will be 4. 55 से 65 रेंज में 1 2 and 3, तो यहाँ पे द काउंट विल बी 3. 65 to 75, 65 75 नो डेटा, राइट? इसका जीरो हो जाएगा. 75 से 85, 1 2 3, करेक्ट. एंड 85 से 95 ओनली 1 इज देयर, सो ये 1 हो गया. तो अभी हिस्टोग्राम इट विल क्रिएट ना. सो एक्स एक्सिस पे रेंज लेगा 45 to 55 रेंज, और यहाँ पे इट विल बी द काउंट 0 1 2 3 4. एंड पहली रेंज जो बनाएगा उसमें मिड पॉइंट लेगा, लेट से 50. इट विल क्रिएट अ हिस्टोग्राम अराउंड दिस 50, विच मीन्स 45 यहाँ पे एंड देन 55 यहाँ पे, राइट? इट विल क्रिएट अ हिस्टोग्राम, एंड यहाँ पे काउंट 4 आया था, तो इट विल क्रिएट लाइक दिस 4. नेक्स्ट जो बनाएगा बिन उसमें 3 आएगा, नेक्स्ट में 0, एंड नेक्स्ट में 3 एंड देन 1, समथिंग लाइक दैट इट विल क्रिएट. सो लेट्स सी हाउ डू वी create the histogram using Python. So let me create the data first that I have defined. np.array. ओके, क्या लिया था मैंने? 45 50 51 53 60 61 62 78 80 82 95, यही लिया था, राइट? एंड np में एरर दे रहा है, दैट मीन्स आई हैव टू इंपोर्ट numpy as np. So मैंने I have created a data, right? Array, single array with this data. Now I will do plt dot hist, hist is the method. Hist, यहाँ पे I will give data, and then I have told you, right, we have to create bins. So bins का value I will divide, give it as 5 here. 5 bins I have to create, and then plt dot show. So if I'll run this program, see, it has created the histogram, right? This, which is a continuous, kind of a bar chart. So there is a difference between bar chart and histogram. I'll come to it in a while. So this is 45 से 50 वाला 55 वाला रेंज. यहाँ पे ना it will be something 55 होगा यहाँ पे. So in that we have data 4 data. 55 से 65 वाला रेंज पे इसने जो बार चार्ट इट हैज क्रिएटेड, यहाँ पे 3 है. 65 से 75 0 था, तो यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं बनाया. 75 to 85 it has again created with 3 as the count, and 75 85 to 95 में there was only one data, तो यहाँ पे इसने 1 बनाया. So this is how the histogram works. And if I don't give this bins here, right? So by default, bins attribute or bins value is 10 if I don't define anything. So it has divided into 10 ranges or 10 bins if I don't define anything. So this is about histogram. Now bar chart or histogram will look like same, right? But there is a difference between bar chart and histogram. So first of all, bar chart, it shows categorical data, whereas histogram shows distribution of continuous data, right? Bar chart, you might have noticed, right? Bars were not touching each other. They were separated out, right? So bars, they do not touch each other. But in histogram, as it is representing continuous data, so bar touch each other, right? So in the histogram, see if in the output, bars are touching each other, right? I mean, here it is not touching because the data is 0. But if some data is there, so the consecutive or the adjacent or the neighboring bars are touching to each other because histogram represents continuous data. And in bar chart, category represents label, but in histogram we represent bins basically, which basically used to represents the ranges. So this is about histogram and difference between histogram and bar chart. Now let's quickly see pie chart. So pie chart में let's say I have defined one variable labels. Labels में I have given apple, banana, and then we have cherry. Okay. And sizes I am giving sizes equal to 40, 30, 30. And I will use plt.py is the method. And here sizes label. Okay, size this should be small. plt.py. Inside this, I'll give sizes, labels, output. Oh, sorry, auto PCT. I'll tell what it is, and then plt.show. So when I'll run this, it will generate a pie chart. Okay, which shows that apple category represent 40% of the data, banana category represent 30% of the data. Sorry, 30%. Yeah, and cherry also represent 30% of the data. So this 1.1 basically represent 1.1 means up to percentage, it has to denote up to 1 decimal places after one digit after decimal places. If I want to represent data up to 2 digit, I will give 1.2 here, and if I'll run it, it will percentage will show, see, 2 after decimal, 2 decimal places are there, 2 places are there. If I don't want to show anything, I will enter 0. So in this case, it will just represent without decimal. Now here is a tricky thing here. So 40 sizes basically represent relative, sizes. So right now 40 plus 30 plus 30 is equal to 100. So percentage mein, that is why you were seeing exactly 40%, 30%, 30%. What happens if I have a random value? Let's say 10, 20 and 30. So 30 plus 20, 50, 60. It is giving 60. Now, in order to calculate the percentage, what we will do, we will use the concept of ratios, right? Again, mathematics. So ratio में क्या होता है? 10 divided by okay, 10 divided by 10 plus 20 plus 30 is 60 into 100. So this will be the percentage of the apple. It will come as 10 by 6. Similarly, 20 by 60 into 100, 30 by 60 into 100. So this is how it will calculate the percentage. So if I'll run this program, see the percentage is calculated differently. So it is not representing size here in the pie chart. First of all, percentage got calculated. So 10 by 60 into 100. So 1 by 6 into 100. So 100 by 6. So this is how, okay, this is how it is basically uh, calculating the percentage. So okay, so this is the pie chart, right? Next thing is scatter plot. So scatter plot is exactly same as line, but in line we are seeing continuous line, right? In scatter plot we will just see the scatter points. What do I mean is, let's say I'm defining 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, and y I am defining 10 comma like this, and I'll do plt dot scatter x comma y plt dot show, and if I'll run this, see in line graph it was showing continuous line like this, right? But in scatter it will just exactly show what are the points mentioned as a scatter points. So this is the uh, scatter plot. Now we have something known as subplot. So subplot is basically uh, subplot basically refers to plotting two or different plots or multiple plots, I would say, in one figure. Let's quickly see the example of subplot. Uh, okay. So I will use plt dot subplot, and here I will give how many rows and columns I want in my uh, output. I will show you what I mean. Let me create quickly one plot, simple plot. X comma y I can directly give here, right? Instead of this, I will give 1 comma 2 comma 3, 4 comma 5 comma. So this is not a matrix, so I'll just give single square bracket here, and then again I will okay, title also, let me give plt dot title first plot. Again, second plot, if I'll give draw plt dot subplot, and subplot may I will give again 1 comma 2 here, and this is the second plot I am giving, and plt dot show. Let's see whether if this particular code we are able to run and generate the image. Okay, subplot. One second. What error it is giving? Subplots take 1 or 3 subplot. 1 or 3 positional argument. Subplots. Plots. Okay. But इसमें give me 2 minutes. 1 comma 2 comma, if I'll give 1 here, this is second plot, so 2. Okay, yeah, it worked now. Okay, what we are doing here, so this plt dot title first plot I have mentioned, plt dot second plt dot title second plot. This is second plot, and this is representing that divide the whole canvas or whole plot into one row having two plots. So this is like a one row where two plots are there, right? Correct. And this one represents here, this one represent that this is the first plot, and this two represent here, it represent this is second plot. And it has represented x and y here, and it has represented two plots into a single figure. So this is about subplot. How do we basically define a subplot? Now there is one more thing. How do we save these plots that we are generating into external files? So for that, I will use plt dot save figure or save fig plot.png, and you just have to remember that plt dot save fig, you have to use it before plt dot show. If you will use it afterward, it will save a blank image. I'll show you that. If I'll run this, see plot.png, it has saved. And if I'm opening this file, it has saved this plot in plot.png. And if I will save the file after plot.show, it will not save any file. It will just save a blank file. So यहाँ पे generate किया plot.png में, it is saving a blank file. So you have to remember, you have to be careful that whenever you want to save your image, you have to save it before plt.show, plot.show. Okay, so this is about matplotlib. Now we have only 6 minutes left, and I wanted to cover Seaborn also. What we will do now, so when we will be machine learning, when we will be covering, right? When we will be doing the hands-on on regression and classification problems. So there also we generate the plots, and there we use Seaborn. So Seaborn is basically, it's a powerful and a versatile data visualization library in Python, which is actually built on top of matplotlib. And again, it is the difference between Seaborn and matplotlib is that so Seaborn is more and closely integrated with pandas data structure, and it provides a high level interface for creating attractive and informative statistical graphics. So uh, I mean, you can achieve more things in Seaborn with less syntax, because most of the things it has incorporated within its functions and methods that it is providing. And yeah, I think, I mean, the same, you can create same kind of graph. There are some more graphs like pair plot, heat map, box plot, violin plot. So as and when it is required, I will cover that, those type of graphs. And when we will be covering the machine learning concepts, then I will cover this Seaborn. It is same as matplotlib. It's just like it gives more beautification with respect to syntax and the output of the graphs that we are generating. So that is the only difference. So you can consider matplotlib as the car's engine, and Seaborn is some some fancy car built on top of that particular engine. So yeah, I mean, we have scatter plot in the Seaborn also, and then we basically use uh, pair plots and then box plot, violin plot based on the use case regression, machine learning use case that we are taking, for example, regression classification. So we will cover Seaborn that particular time when we will see those examples. Any doubts, any feedback, any comments from anyone? How's today's class? It was, kind of a crash course, so I am sure it is, it's a very fast-paced class. But we want to wrap Python because I think Python, I mean, we have already taken a lot of time in covering Python, so I just want to wrap it up so that we can, start with machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and Gen AI concepts. So next class, make sure to attend it because it will be a very, very important class. It will basically build the foundation where I'll explain the difference between, I mean, what is artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, neural networks. So it is about building the AI foundation and fundamentals. So it's actually a very interesting class. I can, promise you that you will find it very interesting. So make sure that you will be attending next lecture. Try to plan out your day accordingly. Just, don't miss the next lecture. It will be very interesting. Okay, anything from anyone of you guys? Anirudh, Gaurav, Dipansh, anyone?
No, it was, yeah, I want to say that it was really good, this statical thing which we did, which was really exceptional. I have not done these things earlier. So, yeah, I liked it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Next class will be actually more interesting. So I'm just, I don't want to, uh, you know, give you over excitement. Yeah, but next class, please try to attend. It will be very, interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
sure.
I think, yeah, that's pretty much it then. Thank you for dialing in. Have a nice day ahead and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.